The dangerous game. The alien market buzzed with voices, scents, and bright lights from hundreds of species. But one stall was different, quieter and strangely tense. At the edge of the crowd, a tall alien woman with radiant silver skin and large glowing eyes stood frozen, her gaze locked on a sight that both terrified and fascinated her. She was considered gorgeous even among her own kind, her features sharp and elegant, her long hair flowing like strands of crystal. Yet in this moment her beauty was dimmed by fear. Before her, in a pen surrounded by energy bars, prowled a creature every species in the quadrant feared. It was called the Korvac beast, an apex predator from the dark swamps of the Rim world. Its jaws could snap metal, its tail could crush bones, its claws left scars in the heart of stone. Entire patrol units had been wiped out by a single Korvac, and yet inside that pen a human man was crouched low, not with a weapon, not with armor, but with nothing more than a stick he had picked up from the ground. The alien woman gasped when he tapped the stick against the ground and laughed as the massive beast turned toward him, saliva dripping from its teeth. The creature let out a sound that made the air vibrate, a growl that warned of death. But the human only smiled wider. "Is he insane?" someone whispered behind her. Another alien muttered, "He is human. They always flirt with death." The Korvac beast lunged forward, its entire body a blur of muscle and scales. Its jaws opened wide enough to swallow the human whole. The woman covered her mouth with trembling fingers, expecting to see blood. But the human rolled to the side with speed no one expected. The jaws slammed shut on empty air. The sound like thunder. Dust rose and the crowd gasped. The human tapped the beast on the tail with his stick, as if teasing it, then laughed again. His laughter was not madness but something else, a joy that echoed deep. He was not fighting the beast. He was playing with it. The alien woman's heart raced. She had studied predators all her life. She knew fear, she knew dominance, but this was different. She had never seen any being treat the Korvac as if it were a large pet instead of a nightmare. The beast swung its tail. The energy bars of the pen rattled. But again the human moved with impossible reflex, ducking under, stepping back, his body flowing like water. No hesitation, no fear, only focus and thrill. The woman whispered to herself, "It could eat you whole." Her voice cracked with disbelief. Her eyes shone with both terror and admiration. Around her, the crowd had gone silent, every eye locked on the strange game between human and monster. Whispers traveled like fire. "They are mad. No, they are fearless. Look at him move. This is why they are dangerous." The Korvac roared again, louder this time, frustrated. Its breath carried the stink of blood, but the human only tilted his head, almost like he was daring it. Then he tapped the stick once more on the ground. Challenging, inviting. The woman felt her chest tighten. She wanted to scream at him to stop, to get out, to live, but something held her tongue. She realized she wanted to see what would happen next. She could not look away, and then it happened. The Korvac lunged again, its jaws like a black hole pulling everything into death. The human waited until the very last moment, then dropped flat against the ground, sliding under the beast's belly, his stick dragging against the monster's scales, sparks flying. The crowd exploded with cries. Some screamed in horror, others in awe. The alien woman gasped so hard it hurt her throat. The Korvac stumbled, confused for the first time. It turned its massive head, its eyes narrowing. It had never been mocked like this, never been played with like prey. The human stood again, dust on his face, sweat dripping, but his grin unbroken. His chest rose and fell with steady breaths. He raised the stick in salute as if to say, "Your move." The alien woman's hands trembled. Her eyes never left him. In that moment, she understood something the council had always whispered but never admitted aloud. Humans were not the strongest, not the fastest, not the largest, but they were something far more dangerous. They turned fear into a game. They laughed where others wept. They found joy where others found death. Her heart whispered words she could not stop. "This one is different. This one is dangerous. This one is human." And the Korvac roared again, shaking the ground. The game was only beginning. Whispers of fear. The marketplace was no longer the same. What had begun as a busy day of trade and chatter had turned into a silent arena. Dozens of species stood in a circle, their glowing eyes shifting tendrils, and feathered faces locked on one human and one beast. No one moved. No one spoke too loudly, for the tension was so sharp it felt like even the air would shatter. The alien woman with silver skin stood at the front of the crowd, her hands clutching her cloak so tightly her knuckles burned pale. She had studied hundreds of predator reports. She had seen the wreckage left by the Korvac beasts. She had seen fleets broken apart by their hunting packs. Her own people feared them with reason, and yet Here before her, one lone human treated the apex predator like a sparring partner. The human twirled his stick in his hand as if it were a blade. But it was not a weapon. It was a joke compared to the claws and teeth of the beast. Yet there was something in the way he held it. Loose but ready, like he did not care about dying, like he only cared about the thrill of the game. "Why is he doing this?" someone whispered. A scaled merchant muttered. "Humans are reckless. They see danger and they run into it." Another alien shook its head. "Not reckless, they are testing it. They always test everything." The woman could hear every whisper, but she could not take her eyes away. Her heart pounded in her chest. She told herself to look away, to leave, but she was trapped. Not by force, but by curiosity. The Korvac paced the pen, its eyes like molten gold, its tail whipping against the ground. Shaking dust and stones, its anger was clear. No prey had ever mocked it this way. Its roars had always ended battles, but here was a fragile human who laughed at its fury. Then suddenly the beast lunged again, faster than before, its jaws wide. Its claws extended, the human darted sideways. The beast's teeth closed around empty air again. But this time the Korvac spun instantly, its tail sweeping toward him like a steel whip. The crowd gasped, several screamed. The alien woman's heart froze. She saw the tail about to crush the human. She almost cried out, but the human bent his knees and jumped. Soaring higher than expected, the tail whipped under him. Smashing into the barrier of the pen, sparks exploded. The energy bars flickered dangerously. For a moment everyone thought the pen would collapse. The human landed lightly on his feet, his grin sharp. He tapped the stick against the ground again, the sound echoing like a drumbeat of defiance. The beast roared in frustration, but the roar was different now. Less certain, more confused, as if it could not understand how this fragile prey was still alive. "He is not surviving," the woman whispered softly to herself. "He is controlling it," and she realized the truth. The human was not just playing for himself. He was playing for the crowd. Every dodge, every laugh, every teasing tap of the stick was not only aimed at the beast but at the audience. He was showing them something dangerous and unforgettable. The whispers around her grew stronger. Humans are mad. No, they are teaching the beast. No one else would dare this. Suddenly, a voice rose from the back of the crowd, deep and heavy. "Pull him out. The beast will kill him." It was a traitor from the reptilian clans. He banged his fist against the wall, but no guard moved. The market guards too were frozen, watching as if hypnotized. The alien woman's eyes flicked to the guards. She understood. They wanted to see how far this would go. They wanted to see if the human would fall or triumph. The Korvac shifted again, its head low, its eyes locked on the human. Its tail stopped swaying, its muscles coiled. It was not rushing this time. It was hunting carefully, as it had hunted countless prey before. The human's grin faded just slightly. His eyes narrowed, his body lowered into a stance. The playful game had shifted. This was no longer just teasing. This was the test of survival. The alien woman leaned forward. Her breath stuck in her throat. She whispered, "Please don't die." But she did not know why she whispered it, why she cared for a stranger. A human she had never met. Then the Korvac struck. This time with deadly silence, its body became a blur. No roar, no warning, only speed. Its jaws snapped forward with lethal precision. The human dropped his stick, shocking everyone. Instead of dodging left or right, he ran directly toward the beast. The crowd screamed in disbelief. The alien woman almost fainted, but at the very last second, the human slid low across the dirt right under the snapping jaws. His hands brushed the scales of the monster's chest as he slid past, and in one impossible motion he grabbed his stick again. Rolling to his feet behind the beast, the Korvac stumbled forward, its jaws crushing only dust. The human spun, his stick tapping the beast's back twice like a drumbeat of victory. The crowd erupted in chaos. Some shouted in awe, others in panic. The alien woman pressed her hand against her chest. She had never felt her heart pound this way. It was fear, but also something else. Something dangerous. Admiration. The beast turned again, furious, but now there was hesitation in its golden eyes. It had never been mocked like this. Never been touched by prey. Never been forced to miss so many times. The human laughed again, louder this time, the sound echoing in the pen like a battle hymn. The alien woman trembled. She realized she was witnessing something more than survival, more than madness. She was witnessing the reason the galaxy whispered about humans, why councils feared them, why even the strongest predators fell before them. It was not size, it was not strength, it was not claws or teeth. It was the refusal to bow to fear. The Korvac roared again, shaking the market. But this time the roar sounded less like dominance and more like frustration. The alien woman whispered again. "This is why they are dangerous. This is why they cannot be stopped." And in the silence that followed, the game was no longer just human versus beast. It was humanity against everything the galaxy thought it understood. The breaking of walls. The air around the pen grew heavy as if the entire market held its breath. The Korvac beast's roars shook the stalls. Dust fell from hanging banners, and creatures of every race stood frozen in a circle of silence, all eyes fixed on the human inside the pen. The human stood calm, sweat dripping from his brow, chest rising steady, his grin sharp, the stick in his hand light and playful. The Korvac towered over him, its golden eyes burning with fury. But behind that fury now was something else, confusion. Predators did not understand prey that did not run. They did not understand prey that laughed. And yet here this fragile human was laughing at death itself. The alien woman with silver skin pressed both hands against her cloak, her knuckles white. She had seen war. She had seen soldiers flee before the beasts, but she had never seen anything like this. Her heart screamed at her to look away, but her eyes betrayed her. She could not. Suddenly the Korvac roared and slammed its massive tail against the energy barrier. Sparks exploded, the hum of the field flickered, the entire pen shook. The crowd gasped in terror. A second slam followed, then a third. The beast's rage now turned not only toward the human but the walls themselves, and with one final thunderous strike the barrier shattered. The blast of broken energy cracked through the marketplace like lightning. Stalls trembled, glass shattered, merchants screamed, and the Korvac burst free. Panic ripped through the crowd. Aliens fled in all directions, wings flapping, claws scraping the ground, scales shimmering in fear. The sound of fear drowned the air. But in the middle of chaos stood one figure unmoving, one human. The alien woman's heart nearly stopped. She whispered to herself, "It is loose, no one can stop it." Her knees trembled. Her body screamed to run, yet her eyes stayed locked on him. The Korvac's golden eyes darted across the fleeing crowd. The beast inhaled, its throat rumbling, ready to chase, ready to feed. But then a sharp sound cut through the chaos. Tap. Tap, tap, the stick striking the ground 3 times. The beast turned its head, and the crowd froze again. For the human was not running, not hiding. He was calling the monster to himself. The alien woman gasped aloud, her breath shaky. "He is drawing it away." The Korvac growled, its massive body turned back toward him. Its muscles coiled, its claws dug into the ground. The predator's full attention locked once more on the human. The crowd scattered further, forming a wide circle around the broken pen. But they did not leave, none of them could. Something bound them in place, the need to witness, the need to see how this would end. The human smiled faintly. His eyes narrowed, his breathing deep. He did not move backward. He stepped forward toward the monster. The alien woman's lips trembled. "This is madness," she whispered. But inside her chest, another voice whispered too. "Or maybe this is courage." The Korvac lunged, its speed terrifying, its jaws wide, its claws slicing air. The human moved, not away but sideways, his body low, his feet sliding, his stick flashing as it struck the beast's snout. A sharp crack echoed. The crowd gasped. The Korvac stumbled, not hurt but stunned that prey had touched it. Dared to strike it, the human laughed again, a sound so out of place in the chaos it sent chills down the woman's spine. He was laughing at death. The beast roared and swiped its claw. The human ducked. The claw tore through the air just above his head, cutting a hanging banner into 2. Cloth fluttered like falling feathers. The alien woman's eyes burned with tears. She did not understand why. She had never seen this human before, yet her chest hurt as if his fate was tied to hers. The Korvac slammed its body forward. The human rolled, dirt spraying, his stick dragging sparks against the beast's scales. Again he rose, again he smiled. The whispers around the circle grew louder, fear mixing with awe. They should be dead. No one can last this long. Humans do not make sense. Is this power or madness? The alien woman realized something. This was no longer only about one beast and one man. This was a lesson. Every eye that watched would carry this memory. Every mind would whisper of it. Every council would fear it. The Korvac turned its head, panting, its golden eyes narrowing. For the first time it looked uncertain. For the first time it hesitated. The human stepped forward again. One step, steady and unshaken, his stick tapping the ground, echoing like thunder in the silence. The woman's lips parted, her voice barely a breath. He is taming it. Suddenly the Korvac lunged again. This time faster, more desperate, its jaws wide enough to swallow half a body. The human did not dodge fully. Instead, he planted his stick into the ground and pivoted, his body spinning just outside the path of death. Dust and saliva sprayed across him, yet he stood. The crowd gasped again, their voices trembling with disbelief. Impossible. This is not prey. The alien woman felt her legs weaken. She dropped to her knees without realizing it, her glowing eyes wide, her silver hair trembling. She whispered again and again, "Why does he not fear? Why does he not fear?" The human raised his stick once more, lifting it like a banner, not a weapon, his face calm, his smile sharp, and in that moment, the Korvac stopped, its golden eyes locked on him, its body lowering, its chest heaving, its growl fading into something else, confusion, frustration, and something new, recognition. The alien woman's breath caught. Her eyes widened in shock. It knows, she thought, it knows this is not prey. The marketplace remained silent. The only sound, the heavy breaths of beast and man, predator and human, hunter and hunted, locked in a strange dance of respect, the woman whispered, trembling. This is why they fear humans, not because they win, but because even monsters see them as equal. And the human took another step forward. The crowd shuddered as one, the air thick. Every species watching knew they were witnessing something that would ripple across the stars. And the game, the dance, the lesson was far from over. The beast bow's dust settled slowly across the broken stalls of the market. The smell of fear hung in the air, and the silence pressed down on every creature that remained. Hundreds of glowing eyes and trembling limbs surrounded the wide circle, yet no one moved at the center. A human stood with nothing but a stick, sweat dripping from his brow, dirt smudged across his clothes. His chest rose and fell with steady rhythm. Across from him, the Korvac beast towered, its golden eyes burning, its claws digging trenches into the ground. But something in those eyes had shifted. The crowd could see it. Even the alien woman with silver skin saw it clearly. This was no longer the look of a predator hunting prey. This was the look of a hunter forced to question. She pressed a trembling hand against her chest, her glowing eyes wide. It is confused, she thought. Confused because this human refuses to break. The Korvac let out a low rumble, its tail swaying, its chest heaving. The sound rolled like thunder, yet it did not lunge. It waited, and the human, calm, steady, took one slow step forward, the stick in his hand tapping once against the ground. The sound echoing through the silent crowd, a murmur rippled. He is mad. No, he is teaching it. What is he doing? The alien woman could not breathe, she whispered softly. He is challenging it to see him not as food, but as equal. The Korvac's muscles tensed. The air trembled, then it lunged faster than lightning, its claws aimed directly for the human's chest. The crowd screamed, but the human did not retreat. He twisted at the very last instant, his stick sweeping upward, not to strike but to redirect. The beast's claw missed by a breath. Tearing through the dirt instead, the human spun, pressing the stick gently against the beast's shoulder as it passed him. Almost guiding it aside, the alien woman gasped, her silver hair trembling. He is not fighting it. He is controlling it, the beast roared in frustration. But there was no triumph in that roar, only anger mixed with confusion. Again the human tapped the ground, 3 sharp beats taunting, inviting, commanding. The Korvac turned, its golden eyes narrowed, its chest rising faster. It charged again, but this time slower, almost cautious. Almost studying him, the human met its charge, his steps firm, his movements precise. He ducked, rolled, and tapped its flank with his stick. Sparks flying, dust rising, every eye in the crowd widened, every throat went dry. Whispers carried like fire. How is he alive? No prey lasts this long. This is not survival. This is dominance. The alien woman's body shook. Her lips parted, she whispered. This is why councils fear them. This is why even the strongest bow before them. The beast roared again, but this roar trembled. The ground shook less. The sound cracked with something new. The human stood tall, his stick raised high, his grin wide, his chest glowing with defiance. And then it happened. The Korvac, the nightmare of the swamps, the apex predator of the rim worlds, lowered its head, just slightly, just enough that the meaning was clear. The crowd erupted, gasps, cries, shouts of disbelief. Wings flapped, claws scraped, voices shouted. Impossible. It bowed. The beast bowed. The alien woman fell to her knees, her glowing eyes burning with tears. She whispered through trembling lips, "No, it is not possible." Yet she had seen it. Everyone had seen it. The beast lowered its head once more, its golden eyes locked on the human. Not with hatred, not with hunger, but with recognition. The human took a single step forward, and the beast did not move. It did not roar, it did not strike, it only stood still. The marketplace filled with chaos, yet in the center there was only silence between man and monster. The alien woman covered her mouth, her heart racing. She realized she had just witnessed something far greater than survival. She had witnessed the rewriting of what was possible, and she knew that from this moment onward, every species in the quadrant would whisper the same truth: that humans did not conquer with claws, did not dominate with strength. They conquered with something far more dangerous: fearless will. The Korvac turned slowly, stepping back, its massive tail dragging, its golden eyes glancing once more at the human before it leapt into the broken distance and vanished beyond the stalls. The crowd remained frozen, every being unable to process what they had just seen. And in the silence, the human leaned on his stick, smiled faintly, and simply whispered, "Good game." The alien woman's heart broke and healed all at once. She stared at him through her tears and whispered in return, "This is why you terrify the stars," and deep inside, she felt a shift she could not explain. Fear tangled with admiration, and admiration tangled with something she dared not name. The legend of humans had grown before her very eyes. But the story was not over, for as the crowd trembled and the whispers rose, a voice thundered from the shadows, "Arrest him! No human can be allowed to show this power here." The woman's eyes widened in shock. Guards began to move, their weapons glowing, and the human only sighed, gripping his stick tighter. The game with the beast was done, but a new game was about to begin, one far more dangerous. The council's fear the marketplace was still shaking from the memory of the beast bowing. The smell of burnt energy from the broken barrier filled the air, and every species present carried the same look. Fear mixed with awe, but silence did not last. Armored boots struck the ground, glowing weapons hummed, and the guards of the high market pushed through the crowd, their scaled faces stern, their eyes burning with order, their voices loud by command of the council. "Seize the human." The alien woman with silver skin froze. Her heart pounding, she whispered, "No, you cannot." But her voice was lost in the chaos. The human stood calm, leaning lightly on his stick, as if nothing around him mattered, as if the roars, the guards, the weapons were all part of another game. His faint smile held steady. "He must be restrained," one guard shouted. "He cannot be allowed to display such power before the council worlds," another added. "If the beast can bow, what else can he make bow?" The crowd shivered at the words, whispers spreading like fire. "They fear him. They fear all humans now. This will reach every star." The alien woman's lips trembled. Her glowing eyes locked on him. She whispered to herself, "They do not fear the beast. They fear him." The guards raised their weapons. The hum of energy filled the air. Beams glowed bright. The circle of fear closed in. The human sighed softly, shifting the stick from one hand to the other, his voice calm, almost bored. "Do you really want to try this?" The alien woman gasped at his tone. It was not arrogance. It was truth, a quiet warning. The guards hesitated, their claws tight on their weapons, but they did not fire. They had seen what he had done. They had seen the beast submit, and somewhere inside they too wondered. If a Korvac beast could not crush him, could they? But one officer stepped forward, bold, his armor gleaming, his voice loud. "You are under order, human. You will kneel before the council." The human tilted his head, his eyes sharp, his faint smile fading. He whispered just loud enough for all to hear, "I do not kneel." The crowd erupted in gasps. The words rolled like thunder through every heart. The alien woman's chest burned. Tears filled her eyes. She whispered, "He is going to defy them all," the officer snarled, raising his weapon, but before he could fire, a heavy voice boomed across the market, deeper than all others. "Enough!" The crowd fell silent instantly. Parting as figures in long, dark cloaks entered, their faces hidden, their presence heavy. The air grew colder. The council's envoys had arrived. The alien woman dropped to one knee without thinking. Her people had always bowed to the council's envoys, but the human did not move. He stood tall, still leaning on his stick, still calm. One envoy stepped forward, his voice sharp like a blade. "You have shown the galaxy something dangerous, human. Your kind must never forget their place." The human chuckled softly, shaking his head. My place is wherever I decide to stand." The alien woman gasped aloud, her hand flying to her mouth. The crowd whispered in shock. "He dares speak so. Does he want death?" The envoy's voice grew harsher. "You will leave these stars, you will never return, or we will ensure your kind is banished forever." The human's smile returned, faint but sharp, his eyes glowing with defiance. "Banish us try, but remember this, your beast bowed to me, not because I am strong, but because I am human, and humans do not bow." The words struck like fire across the crowd. The whispers rose louder, louder, voices of every species repeating, "Humans do not bow. They do not bow." The alien woman trembled. Her tears fell freely, her voice whispering along with the crowd. "They do not bow." The envoys shifted uncomfortably, their cloaks heavy, their silence sharp, for they knew the truth. The moment had already spread. The story had already been born. Even if they silenced this one man the galaxy had seen, and legends could not be killed. The envoy's voice dropped low, almost a growl. "Leave, human, before we change our command." The human twirled his stick once more. Calm, steady, his smile sharp. "Don't worry, I was leaving anyway. I've already said what I came to say." He turned slowly, walking through the circle of guards as if they were nothing more than shadows. None moved, none stopped him. Their weapons lowered without command, their fear stronger than their orders. The alien woman rose to her feet. Her silver hair trembling, she whispered, "Wait," but the word never left her lips loud enough. She could only watch as he passed, his back strong, his steps steady, his figure fading into the crowd. The whispers grew into a storm, carried across stalls, across ships, across comms. The beast bowed. The human stood. "They do not kneel." The alien woman pressed her trembling hand against her chest, her heart burning with a strange mix of fear and hope. She knew what the galaxy would soon know. The humans were not just another species, they were something far more dangerous. Not because they were strongest, not because they were fastest, but because they carried something no other race could understand. The refusal to break, the refusal to bow. And as the markets returned to chaos and the council envoys disappeared back into their shadows, the alien woman whispered to herself, her voice breaking, "This is only the beginning." And somewhere beyond the stars, the story of the human who laughed at death, tamed the beast and defied the council, began to spread like fire. A new legend was born, and the galaxy would never be the same.